Guys, so today I've been lucky and blessed enough to have some of my good friend Marc time at the shop, and we thought we're gonna do a video, a kind of a different video, with a couple of interesting questions listed to me, and maybe give you a different perspective also the gun world and gun aficionados as we are, I think, right? So anyway, let me start first of all. If you, Marc, thank you again for having me. If you want to introduce a little bit your company,
Krebs Custom works on primarily AKs and different solutions to ergonomic problems and whatnot, and to developing it further is what we're all about.
Cool. You guys saw the couple of videos about that. Probably know. I mean, who doesn't know? You know, Marc is one of the probably best gun AK experts, if you want to say that. I mean, to me, it's always fun to talk with him because it's one of the most knowledgeable person that I know, and it's, you know, having a couple of beers and talking about guns is always fun, right? So
Can be, yeah,
can be fun. So anyway, without any further wasting of time, and let's go start with the first one. I gotta read it because I'm getting old, so my memory is kind of, you know. Anyway, in your opinion, which are the top 5 most underrated gun designs?
Well, after considering it for a little bit, the AR-180, the SMLE bolt action rifle, the Mini 14, the KG9 or Tech 9, and the Savage 8722, which are all kind of interesting guns.
Awesome. I might post a couple of pictures of the guns underneath after the video probably. But
okay.
You got any sample you want to show us?
This is a friend of mine's sporterized SMLE, and the Mauser's always been reputed to be the best all-round action. And in fact, really, the SMLE is probably the AK-47 of bolt-action rifles. It closes on cocking, which they say is a detriment, but it is not. And the amount of firepower you can get out of these in one session, you work the bolt like this, and these guns have a tapered cartridge, they have primary extraction, they have primary closing. I've never seen one that was a military one that wasn't at least headspaced 5/1000ths over what it needed to be for grit and dirt and things like that. And they've always kind of been treated as a beater gun, but in fact they were probably the best guns for putting out a high rate of fire at the time.
Yeah.
You know, compared to the Mauser. And
I mean, it's the one of
everybody talks about controlled feed, all that, but I don't see it being a plus.
I mean, plus I think the Enfield in general, since the Mark 1 up to whatever they make the Mark 4, Mark 5, and the old guns, I mean, since the Afghani were still using them at the beginning.
Right.
So, I mean, it's very efficient. The caliber is actually an interesting round too, you know, the 303 is not really a common.
Right, well, they actually had one of the first hollow-ended rounds, like the Russian 545 too.
Okay.
They packed paper up in the front of them so that they destabilize when they hit.
Oh,
and they were devastating bullet.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Let's go.
The AR-180 is a gun that's got good ergonomics. It's got a built-in scope mount that works well. It's rigidly mounted to the receiver, which is rigidly mounted to the barrel. And it's got an SVD gas system in it, basically. and that gun has always been a good runner. Also, the Mini 14 has been a very good runner. I got a friend that I knew in gunsmithing college. I mean, that was like 30 years ago. And he had this old beat shit stainless Mini 14, and he used not even good mags. I'll leave the name out of there, but that gun he shoots to this day. Never really became a gunsmith, you know, but we go up to our reunion every year, and I see him shoot that gun every year and nail stuff, and you know, they moan about them having 4-inch groups, but it's a gas gun, and like all gas guns, they're very sensitive to the load. And shooting them at close range isn't as good. I mean, you should, if you sighted a Mini 14, 300 should be really what you're looking for, and you should test different types of ammo.
Gotcha.
I suppose for the best results, if you sent yours out for cryo, because they did have a problem with stringing them. Some people say that the new ones have gotten rid of that, and some people still say it's there. But the gun is a reliable gun, and the military requires a 4-inch group, and that's as big as I hear people as a collective talk about it. And a lot of them say it's a 1 to 2.5 minute gun. Some people say it's a 4-minute gun, but the reliability is there. Now, I would use factory Mini 14 mags. I am not, I don't have enough knowledge to tell you if there are other good Mini 14 mags out there, but the Ruger ones will never let you down. The other is is called the Savage 87, and this was a gun that was around as an old gun when I was coming into the business. You don't see them quite as much anymore. They're a tubular gun, and they've got little vents cut on the side of the receiver. And back then, when they manufactured 22 ammo, they were not cladding, or they weren't clad plating the projectiles, so they let up the bore. So to alleviate that, what they do is they dip them heavily in wax.
Gotcha.
And this stuff is a high pressure lubricant, but it gums up the workings of stuff. So what this gun would do is you would pull the trigger, the gun would fire, the bolt would lock to the rear, and then you'd let off the trigger and it would close, and then you'd be ready to fire again. And what this did was, if your rounds were moving sluggish in the magazine tube, they'd have time to get up onto the carrier before you pulled the next round. So it was really kind of an ingenious deal. It was just a straight blowback 22, but they worked, and it's an underrated gun for underrated. You know, now you wouldn't really need that, but it was very clever design. And then I suppose the last one is a lot of people are going to get bummed at me here when I say this, but the Tech 9, if you make sure you lock in that extractor on those guns, are reliable, accurate guns with a light trigger pull. They started out as being an open bolt, the KG9, but then that was all banned because it was too easy to make them machine guns or sub guns. But that gun is something, and the other thing is it uses a Carl Gustaf magazine that's been altered, and it's not very hard to make a sub gun feed. So if you've got a good magazine, you've got a good gun. If you don't use altered Carl Gustaf mags, I can't vouch for it. But if I know the early ones were, and I know there's tons of Carl Gustaf mags out there. So it is actually a viable gun at a low cost and does print well. It's, you know, it's a hunk of junk in a way,
No.
but man, it's a firearm, and it's got high capacity, shoots well, has light trigger, very creepy. I mean, it's not a beautiful trigger, but it's light. That's it for this session of exposing
Weird designs.
weird guns that
Yeah.
I think have not been given quite the respect they
Yeah. So yeah,
they need.
So nowadays the problem is, I think, a bunch of, well, back in time, a bunch of old design or newer design too. You know, they don't get a lot of popularity because of the media. You know what I mean? And sometimes they get, you know, oh, it's an ugly looking gun. Well, you know, doesn't mean necessarily, you know, ain't gonna work.
Well, right. I mean, it's a Mini 14's a wrist pistol grip. I had an AC-15 for a while too, or AC 5.56, the little machine gun.
Okay.
And boy, it was like shooting the crank. It was a beautiful gun. I don't really like the 3-round burst, but I don't like the 3-round burst on any gun.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of.
but the Mini 14 was it's a good, reliable gun. And that gun never gave me any problems too, and we shot a lot
Cool.
of ammunition out of that gun.
What do you think about the variant, the Mini 30? That's a good. choice or not?
Verdict's not out on that one. I don't know how well those mags work. I would say it'd be a great gun if they accepted like real AK mags.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, because I
You
know
know,
magazine hard to find and everything. So.
Right, and that's about the perfect chambering for them. That or 223 or even 545.
For the next, I don't wanna. What's the? Let me rephrase that too. What's the worst? Let's say fuck up gun that somebody brought you in to fix or you saw. You know, you can tell us about a funny fact about it or something.
Yeah, back in probably the 90s, a guy brought me in a Hungarian gun and he asked me to convert it to full auto, and I told him that we could not do that for him, and he said he knew how. And I said, well, you may think you know how, but that's pretty dangerous what you're doing. And I would imagine he was taking out the disconnector. But he came back to me about a week later, and the gun had been just blown up, and the receiver was splaying open like an envelope. And he asked me if I could fix it, and offered him money for the parts, and he didn't take it. He left.
Yeah, probably wasn't.
It was kind of sad.
Yeah, well, I've seen it.
It was a beautiful gun before he blew it up.
Used to. But yeah, cool. That's interesting. But you want to talk a little bit about when you met Mr. Kalashnikov? Yeah, the chance to meet him, right?
Right. We went there for about a week, and the day we actually we went to shoot the AN-94
Okay.
and the Bison and their sniper rifle. I think it was the K-98. I know that's a German gun, but I think that's what the designation was. But anyway, we went down there and we shot all this stuff. And on 9/11, actually, we went to go to his summer house.
Okay.
And we met him and a few people there and had lunch and talked about stuff, and he's a very gracious person. He considered himself a gunsmith. He met us in cami jammies and slippy socks. And,
Okay.
He was just straight up real nice guy.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Okay, cool.
Very humble person.
Yeah, that's what I heard from a few persons that had a chance to meet him. Oh, that's cool. Thank you. I got two more questions. That's actually an hard one to me also. actually. What's your, if you know, right? You know, what's your preferred AK variants?
Well, I'd say probably the 74. I like the AMD 65. And I like a lot of the Polish stuff.
Yeah, big fan. Yeah, good manufacturer. They're really finicky when they're building something.
No, they are. They are. In fact, we're going to start building guns on those soon. So.
Great news. And well, it's kind of related to what you just said. Where do you see going the AK manufacturer and AK business going after the ban on Russian AKs, especially after the ban on Russian?
Well, we've sent a lot of parts out because this Vepr ban, you know, kind of whacked us. So we got a mixture of American parts and we got Polish parts, and we sent everything out for heat treating, and we checked specs, and not all of the American stuff is up to snuff yet, but 90% of what we spec'd out and heat treated was good. And so eventually I see American parts taking over. They're making good trunnions, they're making good bolts, but I think they're a little bit soft. And I don't want to bring company names into this, but we've been individually checking, double checking. You know, we're not just taking into account what they say they are. We're checking them for heat treat specifications.
So we are getting there, little by little. So maybe the ban was a good thing somehow.
Well,
you know, to push.
I don't know if it's a good thing, but
you know what I mean.
To get AKs, to get good parts made for AKs over here is something that would be really great, because the import bans and availability and all of that have always been a thorn in our side. You know, I mean, as soon as we get used to one thing, something else moves out, and it's got to be a quality model to use it. But with our new ones, we're going to be using all new Polish entrails, all brand new parts, and also we have access to the hammer forged chrome line barrels as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good. I mean, like I said, I'm hoping that, you know,
we're going to be making Aztec pistols actually as well. We're going to be, our first batch is going to be a batch of Aztec pistols, and we'll sell them as pistols or with the arm brace too.
You tell me I gotta buy one already. Okay, if my wife is seeing the video, I'm gonna buy one.
You are welcome.
And stay tuned. I think we're gonna see something else coming up. Maybe a pistol.